First on BBC One, the news, with Moira Stuart.
Good afternoon. In the last few minutes, the Foreign Office has said that a British citizen has been shot in Kuwait, close to the border with Saudi Arabia. It's not known whether he's alive or dead. The incident took place late yesterday. The Foreign Office says it's lodged a protest with the Iraqi authorities. Some of the people who escaped from Kuwait across the desert to Saudi Arabia have arrived back in Britain.
At the end of an extraordinary journey, the relief at Heathrow was tangible as the escaped Britons were reunited with families and friends. Darryl Holt travelled across the Kuwaiti desert with his 3 small daughters. He'd seen the opportunity to escape and grabbed it.
There's going to come a time when the window will shut altogether, and Iraq may just put tanks all along its border, the southern border of what was Kuwait. So we had to take a chance now, or perhaps never.
For his wife, who was already back in Britain, it's been an agonising wait.
Everything that you hear on the news, I just switch it off because it just upset me too much.
You have your daughters back with you now?
I have them back with me, and I'm not going to let them go again now. Am I? No. You happy to see Mummy?
That was 2 days ago when I came in.
They returned home to find their drive across the desert was already headline news.
We had cars going all over. It was like wacky races. It was unbelievable. It was slightly humorous now when I think of it, but obviously then it was very frightening. There was a lot of people panicking. The car I was in, it broke down. We had to leave it. Thank goodness we had made room in other cars, just in case this would happen.
The escape was carefully planned, and they hope others will now follow.
People, like we say, know the routes that we've taken, and it's now up to them whether or not they wish to take it. It took us over a week.
We were lucky
to boost up our confidence enough to give it a try. I mean, we were lucky.
And they hope that once news of their escape reaches Kuwait, it will encourage those left behind.
The Iraqi President Saddam Hussein is to make a statement this afternoon on the situation in the Gulf. The Iraqi news agency said he would announce an initiative. In an earlier broadcast, Iraqis were urged to eat less food because of the United Nations blockade.
In Iraq, they've been demonstrating loudly and not surprisingly in support of the president and his call for a holy war against all those opposed to him. Saddam Hussein is pictured here with his Revolutionary Council. Afterwards, some startling rulings emerged, like the death penalty for anyone caught hoarding food, together with calls for people to eat 50% less and to wear their clothes for longer. Iraq is conscious of the imminent effect of the economic blockade, and today it will be tested when from the Iraqi oil pipeline in Saudi Arabia, an Iraqi tanker may try to take supplies on board. It won't get any, of course, but the Gulf Force will remain on full alert for any Iraqi reaction, especially in the light of a threat from a group of Iraqi pilots that they'd volunteer for kamikaze missions on American ships to protect what they described as Islam's holy shrines. Michael Macmillan, BBC News in the Gulf.
RAF Nimrod aircraft are due to take off for the Gulf in the next few hours. They'll be joining the increasing international force there. In America, tanks and troops are also preparing to leave for the region.
There's plenty of evidence of large-scale troop movements in the United States. Reservists specializing in nerve gas warfare are practicing this weekend. And already on its way from Baltimore, a 1,000-bed Navy hospital ship to support an estimated 50,000 troops in the Gulf. In Turkey, the only NATO country bordering Iraq, F-111 bombers, normally based in Britain and last used to bomb Libya, leave daily for practice runs in the desert. Americans here are bullish.
I think we ought to go in there and bomb the hell out of it.
Turkey says these planes can only be used if the country is under attack, but in the event of war, Iraq is only half an hour's flight away.
Other news, a major air and sea search is underway for a 7-year-old girl who's disappeared from a holiday camp in Dorset. Gemma Lawrence was apparently snatched through an open window as she slept in the family's caravan near Bridport. Her parents, who come from Wantage in Oxfordshire, raised the alarm after hearing noises early this morning. Police say they're extremely concerned for Gemma's safety. Police in South Africa say that 9 people, including 2 women, died last night in tribal unrest when gunmen attacked a hostel in the Black Township of Sebokeng. And 3 people have died in the last 24 hours in continuing disturbances between police and rioters in Uitenhage. There's been widespread looting of church property and shops. The protests were sparked by rent rises. A number of people have been arrested. That's the news this lunchtime. We're back this evening at 6:25.